Talking business news now, we'll start off with the state of the Nigerian economy as the external reserves fell by $313 million in the month of March this year, and that's according to the latest data from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, according to the CBN's report, the foreign exchange reserves, which commenced March the 1st at $39.86 billion, fell to $39.55 billion as of the 30th of last month. Governor of the Apex Bank, Godwin Emefiele, who expressed concerns over the effect of the massive oil theft on the oil sector and external reserves, notes that the CBN is in collaboration with the Bankers Committee to boost non-oil exports through the race to a $200 billion mark. Now, Nigeria's external reserves has been wobbling in the past few weeks following the invasion of Ukraine by Russian forces, causing the global energy sector to continue to experience disruptions. Brent, the crude against which Nigeria's oil is priced, which had jumped above $100 per week per barrel in the previous week, has also hit about $120 as of Thursday. And now in this next report, the federal government has extended a deadline for the extended ongoing national identification number and the subscriber identity model, which is the same integration exercise, by a few days. Following the last extension, the exercise was meant to end on Thursday, the 31st of last month, and Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, who made this known in a statement, urges citizens and legal residents to use the next few days to ensure that they complete the linkage process. Now, to this end, the minister further directs that the National Identity Management Commission should offer enrollment services around the clock for the next few days. Recall that the NIN SIM linkage exercise has been extended 10 times since its first commencement date, the first which was set for January the 19th, 2021, and has now been pushed forward for an unspecified number of days. And shifting focus from the telecommunications sector, industry players in the insurance sector have also called for the need to establish sustainable agenda in the country as a means to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Blessed Omonose has the details in this report.
United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, a shared vision to end poverty, rescue the planet and build a prosperous and peaceful world, are gaining momentum globally. While progress has been made in many places, action to meet the SDGs is not yet advancing at the speed or scale required. To this end, industry stakeholders and players in the African insurance space have converged in Lagos to deliberate on ways to leverage insurance to promote economic, social and environmental sustainability towards achieving a sustainable future for Nigerians.
We are working with the NICOM, National Insurance Commission, here in Nigeria to come up with an ESG regulation and also a toolkit that will enable the industry, the insurance industry, to integrate ESG, environmental, social and governance risks within this particular country.
What is the input into agri?
Other stakeholders who spoke at the event clamor for the need to harness insurance products and solutions to help achieve the SDGs.
We've brought in a team of consultants to work with NICOM, but also to work with the industry in terms of entrenching and integrating environmental, social and governance-related risks within the financial system.
Our system is too over-centralized, but at the same time too diverse for appropriate consolidation. And I think what is important is to begin to find ways to consolidate all this into something that all of us understand. And then each one of us can take the aspect that is important within our local community and begin to improve it.
A key consideration made at this high-level meeting is the need to shape the sustainable insurance agenda in Africa and strengthen the global effort of ensuring for sustainable development. Blessed Omonose, TVC News, Lagos.
And now in this next report, the Lagos District and Society of Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria has attributed the low payment of taxes among small business owners to poor awareness and enlightenment. Addressing journalists at a forum in Lagos to commemorate this year's edition of the annual tax week, the chairman of the society, Dr. Yemi Sani, explains that an improved awareness creation and partnership with government will definitely advance taxation development to get more MSMEs into the tax net. He also notes that the society will continue to engage relevant stakeholders in training and designing various aspects of tax administration processes, including taxpayer filing, assessment, and even revenue payment. And on her own part, the Director of Informal Sector and Special Duties of the Lagos State Inland Revenue Service, Folashade Koka, highlights the efforts made by the state government in simplifying tax payments for operators in the informal sector.
It is such that we looked at how we can impact directly on the businesses of entrepreneurs in Computer Village. That was what led to us coming with the idea to bring the Federal Land Revenue Service, the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, and the coalition of associations in Computer Village together so that the relevant authorities can listen to the problems they're having and try to provide the solutions to most of their problems.
We've looked at it and realized that ease of doing business is very key for taxpayers. So Lagos State and the state government has decided that instead of us even having taxpayers look for some of our stations or mini tax stations, let's go into the market space, because we've realized that traders do not want to leave their business to go around even for a minute. So we've decided that if Mohammed cannot go to Mohammed cannot go to the mountain, then the mountain should go to Mohammed. So we've decided to go into the market space and make it easy for traders to pay and also to have the validity of their payment, which is their tax receipts.
And now shifting focus to the international front, Asian shares fell today following the biggest quarterly drop in global equities in 2 years as investors worry about the impact of the Russian-Ukrainian war and rising risks of recession. On Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin struck back at Western sanctions on Moscow, threatening to halt contracts supplying Europe with a third of its gas unless they are paid in rubles. Now, the move prompted Germany, the most reliant on Russian gas, to accuse him of blackmail as it activated an emergency plan that could lead to rationing. Reflecting the gloomy mood as a result of supply disruptions and surge in raw material costs, Japanese business confidence also hit a 9-month low in the first quarter of this year, according to a Bank of Japan survey, with companies indicating they expect conditions to worsen further. In Tokyo, the Nikkei was down 0.575% in morning trade, while MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan was 0.7% lower. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index also dipped 1.1%, while South Korea's Kospi also lost 0.6%. Chinese blue chips, that's the CSI 300, also turned around from a lower open to rise 0.7%. MSCI's global share index and the US as well as European shares also notched their biggest quarterly drop since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 in the quarter that ended on the 31st of March. Investors have been worried about the surge in price pressures and how this could also force global central banks into aggressive rate hikes, potentially triggering recessions. But the quarterly drop in US shares masks a late comeback in the S&P 500 index, which rallied from a near 13% decline to finish the quarter off about 5%, defying worries over tighter monetary policy and global instability, as well as in contrast to signals sent by bond markets. The Russian central bank today also says it is softening restrictions on foreign fund transfers for individuals for a 6-month period. The bank said the measures did not apply to residents and non-residents from countries that impose sanctions against Russia over Ukraine. And now as well, the International Energy Agency holds an emergency meeting today among consuming nations to discuss a new release of strategic reserves alongside a plan by the United States to pump massive supplies starting in May to cool soaring oil prices. Major consumers are seeking ways to ease the impact of global oil prices, which have also soared more than 30% so far this year on the economies after top producers group OPEC Plus stuck to plans to add a modest 432,000 barrels per day of supply in the month of May. Western sanctions on Russia after the invasion of Ukraine are expected to also see a loss of about 3 million barrels per day of Russian oil this month, according to the IEA. Moscow calls its activities in Ukraine a special operation to disarm its western neighbor. To fill the shortfall, President Joe Biden on Thursday also authorized the largest reserve ever from the United States Strategic Petroleum Reserves, a release of 1 million barrels per day of crude for the next 6 months, starting in May. And wrapping up business news now, oil prices on the international market fell slightly today as they traded in a narrow range ahead of a meeting of consuming nations to discuss a new release of emergency oil reserves alongside a huge planned release by the United States. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude recorded a price dip of 1.35% to hit $98.93 per barrel. Brent crude now sells at $103.60 per barrel, registering a downward price margin of 1.07%. Bonnie Light's performance is also recording a sharp plunge of 4.36%, selling at $109.40 per barrel. And for the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers offer $110.50 per barrel, with a price increase of 0.37%.